Namaste. So now what we want to do is that we want to move on. This is what we want to do. We want to go ahead and move on and our initiation into moving into what I call unlimited progress. So now I want to go ahead and start dropping a couple of jewels on what's stagnating us. Because there's something stagnating us. See, what's happening right now is that we're going through a deep phase. We're going through a phase where you got the baby boomer generation. Um, you have the flower group generation, which is born in the 70s, the baby boomers, anywhere from the 40s to like the 60s. Going into the love generation, which is the 60s and 70s. Going into the flower generation, which is 70s, late 70s. And then going into the indigo generation, which I believe my information is more so geared towards fixing that generation, because that's the generation that's going to be significant in making what's called the shift of the ages. See, there's this time comes around every 25,000 years. We go through the procession of the equinoxes, and what's happening now is that we have a new devil, a new serpent, and this new serpent is actually cloaked in what's called the rainbow children, going all the way up. See, the rainbow children have turned on us. That's all I'm gonna say based on my research. I can get really deep into this, but the rainbow children turned and started to work with outside beings. They started giving out information, important information from their teachers and elders and people that were older than them, their fathers, mothers, whoever, information that they got from back in the day. When I'm talking about this is exclusive information, like 5% type information from the 5%ers. So information from like the Theosophical Society, whether it's Clarence 13X from the so-called melanated side of it. No matter what angle you coming at it from, what I'm speaking on is that we were entrusted with information, especially from the period of about like 1930 moving into about the year 2000. And we got that information and we were granted and given a kind of like a gift with that information, like a loan, essentially is what it is, because this information saved us. See, if it wasn't for this information, you wouldn't be where you're at now. This is what saved you. You might not know this, but this saved a lot of us. And what happened is that rainbow children, at some point, a disconnect happened with the indigo generation. A separation happened. The indigo generation started to make a lot of money, gained a lot of enemies, people got jealous of them. I would say the indigo generation made the most money off of consciousness, probably more than any other group, which was, of course, their role. But in that, they got judged by their children. And not only that, their children's minds were taken over while they was out making money and doing this and that. Their children was selling their soul for cheap. And what happened is, this is really happened. I'm going to go into how cheap they sold it for too in future episodes, but just know they sold their soul. So now they're considered the number one enemy. I went through a ritual to get Morocco's resources back. This is what I really wanted to do and Ben wanted to do, and I was successful in it, but I was revealed a new enemy. And they're younger than us, and they're shapeshifters, younger than the indigo generation. See, the indigo generation represents, I found out, the end of a group, of a race, a relay race. So you're at the end, and then you're looking at this new race that's starting with these rainbow children, or even these Blu-ray babies that are growing up now. And they've been passed the baton to start a new race. However, a lot of them sold their soul and they lost the way, and they don't have a lot of the knowledge. However, they're being put into positions of power where it takes a lot of knowledge to run, and they're messing up the future of what's called unlimited progress. And they've now put themselves in a position based upon some stuff that happened in the past 3 months, and people that know what I'm talking about sat down with a grand wizard, with the Knights of Columbus. We talked about this about a month ago, and they sold their soul, man. These young children, they've lost the covenant. A lot of people, older women and men, are dating people in this group, in this generation. You need to be careful with that. These young people have lost the way. They still need guidance from their elders. They're going to sell everything for cheap, for dirt cheap. Stuff that's worth trillions of dollars, they're going to sell it for millions of dollars and for cheap. And they're not going to have anything. And they're going to do what's called, eventually, they're going to erase time. That's right. They're going to erase time, or what was. And they're going to have to start everything over. And when that happens, they're going to erase the memories of who we are. We're going to lose our memory. Our memory is going to be wiped clean. So there's no good and bad in the universe when I talk about like World War III and Armageddon and stuff, because this is what I'm getting into. This is the war of Armageddon. And in the war of Armageddon, of course, there's an enemy and then there's a friend, and there's no good and there's no bad. However, there is still roles that have to be played, and there is going to be an enemy, and there is going to be a hero, or what some people call a heroine, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be a shero. People are going to have superpowers, but you're not going to activate any of that until you first go through your tribulation. So I'm going to tell you now, that's going to be your number one problem. Some people have children that are rainbow children. Some people are in relationships with them. They're going to be your number one problem because their minds aren't programmed the same way of the do for self and start from nothing and make something. Everything to them has to be beautiful. Everything to them has to look a certain way. When it doesn't, when it's ugly, they turn on it. So that's what happened to me. This is deep. I was almost murdered to get Morocco's money back. And come to find out, the people that were responsible were young kids. That's right. That told and gave out information that was worth millions of dollars to enemies. It almost caused the sinking of what's called the Moroccan Empire, of which I'll go into in the future. So when we wanted to secure this World Cup, this represented a win, man. Believe it or not, like a conquest that you've never seen before, you won't see again. People that help me, you're gonna be blessed. Believe that. Blessed. People that went against me, we're gonna be your worst enemy, because we've now been entrusted with the government, the keys, man, to this vast estate. And this government, and being able to access hidden treasures all over this government and this planet that you know nothing about. And once we link those hidden treasures together, like what I call an earth grid, and link them together a certain kind of way, you've never seen what's going to happen in manifestation. But of course, you're never going to see the war that's going to break out from it. Because they don't, a lot of them don't want us to be successful, because of course, they want to do it. See, it's like we raised these children. Now we was all poor, righteous teachers, 5%ers, getting money and struggling and putting our children on the corner. And they got mad. Some of them turned on us now. They're like, I'm tired of working for dad on the corner, mom on the corner, ready to do my own thing. But then you put somebody out there with very little knowledge, somebody she wants to do her own thing, and gets themselves killed. And that's what's happened to a lot of them. They got themselves murdered. Serious, you have to pay attention, slaughtered with the hands of an enemy that don't give a damn about you, because all they want is your resources and what you have. They know you don't even know what you got yet. You think this money over here is it. You think these little fiat notes, this little shit is it. It's nothing. You're supposed to be printing this stuff yourself at some point. But you lost the way. You see, I had to go through struggles, starving. They didn't want to donate to 13 Signs Astrology at Gmail via PayPal. They came up with every excuse. It's tied in with the Catholic Church. Come to find out, the ringleader of this movement that was blocking my funds were children. Young children. Sad. Younger. Some of them not even 18. And being programmed by elders that were much older, baby boomers that were jealous of indigos. We made billions of dollars. The indigo, I'm going to tell you this, has made more money than any other generation. Baby boomers, all of that, hands down. Richer. We are what's called the rich kids, believe it or not. And we pass that on. And they hate that. Of course, you got the ones up under us that want to say they made it all up. This and that. No. Hip hop started with the Flower Children and was given to the Indigos, the second generation. We made billions off of it and turned it into politics. Now you see Ye running for president. Everything that was predicted, we said this was gonna happen years ago. Shout out to Black Dot. But we said this was gonna happen years ago, and it did. So some of us hate each other, whatever the case may be, but it's here. This is now a government, religious, political, one of the biggest religious political movements that it will exist and that has existed and still going on and moving into the sports arena. But now we're fighting each other. Now you're seeing two indigos fight. First, it was the so-called white man that was your enemy, but it never was really the white man. But that's who they blamed it on first. Now it's just your friend. It's the kid next door. Serious. That wants to tie you up and rob you. It's just not the white man anymore. He's been influenced by the white man. Like, I'm gonna step back. So-called white man, or we call them the white man, the open enemy. We used to call them the open enemy. The open enemy is the one you know he don't give a fuck about you. You know, I'm gonna step back and then create a new enemy for you right in your bloodline. That's what the Bible said. We were given the gift to your vast estate. A lot of us lost the way, don't get me wrong, but prophecy's not over, it's still going on. Major celebration, man, with the win of that and being able to get back credit. Like, we are not considered a negative nation anymore in this country, within this country. You gotta remember the Moroccan Empire, the Moorish empires in this country. United States of America and in South America going over and extending over to Africa. But it's a secret society that you'll never have access to unless you go through the right custodians. Namaste.